Hello, welcome to Library Connection. I'm Mandy Candro with the B.B. Comer Memorial Library here in Sylacauga. Before I get started, I want to thank TV47, Chris, and everyone who helps us put on this program. We appreciate it very much. Joining me today, I have Patricia Self and Aliah Aytch with Altapointe Health Services. We're going to find out a little bit more about what you guys do, the services you provide and everything. So thank you, ladies, for joining me this morning.
Thank you for having us.
We're very glad to be here.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear more about what you do. First of all, tell us about yourselves, kind of your position with your office.
Well, once again, my name is Patricia Self, and I'm the Assistant Clinical Director for Children's Services for Altapointe Health in the North Region. Altapointe Health provides services in Talladega County, Clay, Coosa, and Randolph counties. And my job is to provide supervision and coordination for those services in the 4 counties that we serve.
Okay, that's a large job there, I think. Yeah. Now, Aliah, how about you?
Yes, my name is Aliah Aytch, and I'm the Children and Adolescent Day Treatment Team Lead. So it's my job to just coordinate and make sure that the day treatment is running well, making sure that we have activities for the kids, that we're running therapeutic services, just the ins and outs of meeting with the family for the Children and Adolescent Day program.
That's a big job, I think.
It's a fun one, too.
Well, so I know y'all are very busy right now with your summer, is it summer camps or summer day treatment things, right?
Yes, ma'am. Our day treatment program, it runs all year round. So what we do is we partner with the schools and, outpatient therapists, so they refer a child to us, or a parent will share, concerns. And what we do is we'll pick up the child from school. After school. So that's our partnership with the school as well. They allow us to come in and get the child. Our program starts from 2 to 5. Okay. So it's 3 hours of services, and within those 3 hours, they have therapeutic service, so individual therapy service with the therapist, BLS, so that's our basic living skills. So just anything that a child needs to learn that will help with the development in their life. So we can just talk about just positive coping skills, communication skills. Even sometimes we go back and teach them how to tie their shoe, count money, Recently, we just talked about personal space, the importance of personal space, allowing people, to invite you in, asking permission, and just understanding, different things that's going to help them thrive as adults. We also do monthly field trips because we find it's important to allow them to go out and see the community and just practice the skills of what it's like and the things that you have to do. There's been times we have taken them something simple like Burger King they actually love, We let them order something. We teach them the manners of how to ask for it, cleaning up after themselves. So that gives them the opportunity to practice the things that they're learning.
Just basic life skills.
Absolutely. Yes, and each
right.
child comes in, for their own particular reasons.
Sure.
And in this service, it's individualized plans. So although they are in a group setting and they have group therapy, they do have a time where there's just one-on-one services with the therapist. And we focus on the goals that they have and that their family have, and that the school may feel like, the things that will help them advance in their individual life.
So y'all work with parents and schools and everybody involved.
Yes.
Therapists, what kind of therapists? Physical therapists? So occupational?
So mental health, therapy. Yeah. So we just, we have an array of techniques you can use, and like CBT, person-centered, motivational interviewing, and that really depends on what the child needs, what the person needs, and what their goals are. And so the therapist is competent in those techniques, and they're able to apply them based on the treatment plan and what individual needs.
Right. I like that it's individually geared for each child.
Absolutely.
Because we all have different needs.
Yes.
Children, adults, all of us.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful. How do parents get in touch with you if they feel like their child may need some of your services?
Well, if a parent sees that their child is struggling every day, they can call our Access to Care number, and that number is 1-888-335-3044. And an individual that's trained will do an assessment with them, and then they'll be set up to have an intake at one of the outpatient centers.
Okay. Wow. Well, that's amazing. So it's not just during the summer,
No,
it's
ma'am.
during the school year.
Yes.
Yes.
During the summer, we do have our summer camp with the children we love, and our hours are extended there. So typically during the school year, our hours are 2 to 5, but during the summer program, our hours are 10 to 3. So that gives us more time to just have recreational activities and crafting. So it allows them to still have those therapeutic services that they may have had all year round, but in a place where they get like they're having fun now. So it's integrated with just the services they're needing and that they'll originally get with a little spice of fun. And I think they really, really enjoy it. And it allows them to do more recreational things, which I think is really positive because I think children learning proper use of leisure time is really really important.
Yes, it is.
That
It
unstructured time. And a lot of times that's where you see the behaviors that they were referred for in that unstructured leisure time around other peers. So that gives us an opportunity to identify things that we can continue to work on and allow them to thrive and use what they learn in these unstructured fun times.
Right.
We take them swimming.
Yes, they love that.
We go to Talladega to the recreational center up there. So they get to go swimming on Fridays. We also take them on field trips, as Aliah mentioned earlier. One field trip that I always look forward to is we go to the Alabama Nature Center in Millbrook because I love to get kids outdoors because I think kids have become too dependent upon playing video games and things like that.
Being inside.
Yes.
They need to get out.
They need to get outside in nature. And they have a lot of exciting activities there. And we actually do a creek hike. The kids get into the creek, and it's about a quarter of a mile. It's very safe, but they have such a good time.
Yes.
And they get very wet and very dirty.
And they love it.
But that's what kids should do. They should get wet and dirty, and they should get outside and play because playing is therapy itself.
Yeah.
It really is.
And it's so interesting seeing them in those nature environments because even the toughest kid, when they get in that creek, it's water splashing. So
that's so fun. And we don't all live near a creek.
Yes,
Things
absolutely.
like that.
Yeah.
So that's so much fun. What age children do you work with in this program?
So this program we start at 5 and once they get into high school, we transition them to another service. So whatever age that looks like between the kindergarten and the 8th grade. After 8th grade, we transition them.
Yeah, it's usually about 14.
Yeah. And that varies, I'm sure, with every child.
It does. But once they get into the high school, it's very hard to. Their schedules and their core classes are. It's hard to modify that schedule. So. Like Aliah said earlier, right now the schools partner with us for this program. So a child is able to leave early to attend the program.
Sure.
And day treatment is not forever. Our goal is to get these children to learn resilience.
Absolutely.
We don't want them in our program forever. We want these children to learn coping skills, to learn to thrive. And then we want them to go back to school.
Absolutely.
Or go back about, the things they need to do in their daily life. So
That's great. Well, I want to hear a little bit more about all this. We're going to pause for a commercial break, and we'll be right back and talk some more with Aliah and Patricia.
A funeral service represents a family's final farewell to their loved ones. Knowing this, we go beyond what is expected to ensure the ceremony is beautiful and memorable, a truly fitting tribute to that special life. We invite you to visit us to meet our staff and tour our renovated facility complete with a new dining area and catering services. We've been serving the people of this area for over 40 years, and we think that you'll be pleased to find that making lasting impressions remains our first priority. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg.
Bonanza, the famous Western television series, is now on WOIL TV 47. Join Little Joe, Hoss, Adam, and Ben Cartwright on the Ponderosa every weekday morning at 8 a.m. Fist fighting, chicken chasing, gunslinging, and more. Join us for Coffee and Bonanza every weekday morning at 8 a.m. on TV 47.
Welcome back to Library Connection. I'm talking with Aliah Aytch and Patricia Self from Altapointe Health Services. We're talking about day camp and all the fun things you provide. Fun, it's not just for fun. It is to help children, right?
Right.
Now, I know we talked about what the children are doing when they're in during the year, right after school, or during the summer for like a summer camp. How would I know if my child needs your services? I mean, what's the difference in being a little bit anxious and having anxiety and not being able to cope or handle that? That's a big question, I know.
Well, I think a child that is struggling to function day to day, those are the kids that we look at for any of our services. You know, you have children that can't get through a school day without feeling anxious, or perhaps they're struggling with a lot of anger, moodiness, or maybe depression. You know, they could be withdrawn. They could be expressing feelings of just not wanting to be here any longer. I would say most of the kids that we serve in the day program struggle with being defiant, having some issues with anger. So learning those anger management coping skills are very important. And we do a lot of that in the program. One of the main things that we do and that our staff does is we model the kind of behaviors that we want our kids to, express.
Right.
So, if a child is having some issues with anger and they do it within the day program, then we can work with them to teach them how to work through that anger in a safe manner, to where somebody is there with them. And once they learn those coping skills, it becomes a habit at that point.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I think we all could benefit.
Yeah.
All of us could.
Yeah, it's really tools of life. So, and to answer your question again, add on to what Miss Patty said, just really any life experience that impact them, and like Miss Patty said, just impairment in their daily functioning. That could be a loss of a family member, transitioning. You may have stayed with mom and dad, now you live with grandparent. Those things.
Big
should help.
life changes.
Absolutely.
Things like that.
Our kids go through so much.
They do.
They really do. And I mean, anybody can be overwhelmed with things that happen in their life. So that's what we're here for. We're here to help them. We're here to help them learn those coping skills, become more resilient, so they can grow up and be successful.
Absolutely.
Learn how to deal
Absolutely.
with it. Because sometimes I would guess it's things that don't go away. I mean, sometimes things happen and it's, for a little while this is going on and then things are back to normal. But most of the time, I guess there's a life change and it's not going to change. It's going to be like that. So learning to, if that even made sense, learning to cope with that.
Right.
That's great.
Well, coping skills are something that we can use our entire life as we grow into adulthood. I mean, these skills that we teach them can last them through the rest of their lives.
Absolutely.
That's true. That's true. That's wonderful. And so ages 5 to 14 or 15, somewhere in there.
For the day treatment program, but for outpatient services,
Uh-huh.
we serve children and teens 5 through the age of 20,
Okay.
and then adults 19 and up.
Okay. So they don't necessarily have to come every day. There are different kinds of services.
Yes.
Okay. Some are just outpatient.
We have outpatient services. We have therapy and psychiatric services for children, teens, and adults. We have case management. We have a lot of different programs for children, teens, and adults. We have crisis services. Like if somebody is experiencing a mental health crisis, they can call that number that I gave earlier, or they can call 988.
Oh.
988 is like 911 only for somebody who's experiencing a mental health or a substance use crisis.
So some of these are caused by mental health conditions or trauma or things like that. Some of them by substance abuse, maybe not as much in children, but all of that is what you're involved with, right?
Right. We have services for mental health and substance use.
Okay. Is there a charge for this, or how does insurance cover that?
Well, we accept all kinds of insurance, but we do not turn anybody away. We have an open door policy, so anybody that comes in our door can receive services.
Absolutely.
Right. And you're here in Sylacauga, is that
We
right?
are. We have an outpatient center located in Sylacauga and in Talladega.
Okay, so y'all are probably all over. Yeah, that's great. What are some resources for parents that they can use on their, besides books from the library? I'll say that. Yeah, I'm sure we have some too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So all facilities provide family therapy services. So that even if you're at day treatment or you're not in day treatment, whether you're doing school-based, just the traditional outpatient services, we also, for parents, we also provide psychoeducation. So that's where we come in and we tell you a little bit more about what your child is dealing with and what are some, we will say, symptoms or normalcies that you would see with them dealing with this. You know, give them some education.
And that's called what?
Psychoeducation.
Psychoeducation.
Yes.
Okay.
Have a care coordinator who can, you know, help not only meet with the child or the adult, you know, could also meet with the parent and provide extra assistance. The parent can tell the care coordinator, you know, my child's having difficulty maintaining their room, and the care coordinator comes in and help devise a plan for the child and the parent.
That's great, because I guess the plans and the coping things are not just for the child, the parent, the whole family has to be involved, doesn't it?
Yes, sometimes families need additional support services.
Sure.
And care coordination is one of those services that Aliah talked about. A care coordinator, to expand upon what Aliah said, can link a parent and their child to additional resources, maybe out in the community. She keeps everybody in the loop, so everybody's working towards the same goal.
Good.
We also have other services for children. We have what we call youth peer specialists and parent peer specialists. These are peers that have lived experience. So for an example, a youth peer is an individual who has lived and had the challenges of a mental health issue and has managed that very well and has maintained their mental health, and they're able to work with another youth and guide them along this journey.
That is wonderful.
The same with the
Somebody
parent peer, right, exactly.
Who can relate directly to what's going on with that child or that parent.
Right, and we have a parent peer. A parent peer is somebody who can work with the parent to assist them to help their child manage their mental illness and advocate for themselves, learn how to advocate for themselves and for their child.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's great. That is an awesome program. I do think if you want to know how to do something, talk to somebody who's done it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Who can relate to you.
I mean, sometimes our children and who are receiving those services would rather talk to the peer than they would the therapist, because they know that's somebody who's been on the journey they're on.
Absolutely.
So sometimes we find that they're reaching out for their peers, and that's a wonderful feeling to know that we can offer all this support to our kids.
That is wonderful. We're going to pause for another commercial break, and we'll be right back.
The all-new Marble City Pharmacy in Sylacauga is your destination for the highest quality health care. Our remodeled and expanded pharmacy gives us the space to serve more patients. We've added a drive-through window for those times when you don't feel like getting out of your vehicle. And we still offer delivery within city limits. We feature a full line of over-the-counter medications and supplements. And don't forget our stunning new gift department. New building, same great people. Marble City Pharmacy, here for life.
The Maxie Veazey Senior Adult Activity Center offers the senior citizens in the Sylacauga and surrounding areas lots of fantastic activities throughout the week. Sewing, ladies bridge, quilting, game-o-rama, ceramic classes, bingo, travel club, and lots more. It's all at the Maxie Veazey Senior Adult Activity Center located next to the J. Craig Smith Community Center in Sylacauga. Don't spend any more time alone. Get out, make new friends, and have fun.
Great. What am I going to do now?
Time to visit Brown's Auto Collision.
No problem at all. We've contacted your insurance company and we can get you back in the original condition right away. And I just want to remind you that all of our work is covered by a lifetime warranty. We're done.
Wow, that was easy and looks great.
Brown's Auto Collision.
Where quality is no accident.
Welcome back to Library Connection. I'm talking with Aliah Aytch and Patricia Self about Altapointe Health Services. We've talked a lot about children and parents and how to help them, which is wonderful. I know in the last few years, mental health it doesn't have the stigma that it used to have. You know, usually you didn't talk about that really, but we all have mental health issues. I think everybody probably does. Are they caused by addictions or trauma? Or are we born with them, or all of the above, maybe?
Go ahead.
There can be a lot of different onsets, you know, things that can affect our mental health. You know, it can be genetics, it can be substance use, it can be life situations. So like you said, we can all have moments and times where we struggle with our mental health, and it can be onset by a lot of things in life, various things.
Can it be prevented in some cases, maybe?
I'm not so sure that it can be prevented. I think that when people start to feel overwhelmed, maybe, and you know, they don't think about taking care of their mental health. You know, and taking care of our mental health is just as important as taking care of our physical health.
It is.
It all plays a role. Our mental health impacts our physical health. So I think that when somebody starts to recognize that they're struggling and they need to seek professional help, they can call our Access to Care number, and a trained specialist will be able to link them to help and determine what level of care they need.
Yes.
That's great, because sometimes we don't know. Like I said, what's the difference between being anxious and really not being able to cope? I mean, we all have times we're anxious, we're nervous, we're upset, anxiety, but somebody trained can help me know what I need to do.
Right, exactly.
Absolutely. And like you said, life, you know, gives you various things, and sometimes we're all anxious, depending on the situation. You have moments or situations that can cause you to be nervous, worry, and the level of care that you need. You kind of realize when life becomes almost difficult in your day-to-day. Like Miss Patty was sharing, that day-to-day impairment, that's when it's probably the best time to seek support. And the support can tell you what level of intensity of care you need.
Yeah, if you find yourself struggling for a couple of weeks and you haven't gone to see any of your friends, or you're not engaging in any of the activities that you normally would, maybe you've called into work a couple of times, maybe you haven't bathed or something like that. You know, these are all areas of our life, just normal daily life activities that we engage in every day. Well, an individual struggling with their mental health is going to be struggling to function in those areas.
Right. So we need to be aware of ourselves, our family, our friends, and coworkers. And
Absolutely. It's so important. If you see somebody struggling, talk to them.
Absolutely.
You know, say, hey, I see you're struggling right now. Let's talk about what we can do to help you. There's no shame in asking for help, because everybody needs help. Everybody needs help from time to time in their life.
That is so true.
Absolutely.
That is so true. Now, I know sometimes, I guess it just takes therapy, a little bit of time, learning some coping skills, but sometimes medication is used. Is that correct? Do y'all do that also through your doctors?
Yes, we have psychiatric services for adults, children, and teens, but you're right. Sometimes medication is needed, and the psychiatrist or the psychiatric nurse practitioner will determine that. But we believe in therapy.
Right.
So we usually like to try therapy first, and then if the individual is still struggling, then we can schedule them for a psychiatric evaluation.
That seems like a great process, a way to walk through it. You don't want to jump to that first.
Right.
Try to learn to cope. Yeah. Is this very prevalent in our society today? People suffering, not being able to cope?
I think it's like 1 in 6 adults will experience an issue with a mental health condition this year. And 1 in 5 children, I think, experience some level of a mental health issue. So the statistics are always changing, but it's definitely a serious concern right now.
Yeah. Starting very young.
Yes,
also.
very young.
That's so sad, but I'm glad to see there are places they can get some help.
Absolutely. Altapointe is here to help, and we have a lot of services for children and teens.
Okay.
One thing I haven't talked about is school-based therapy. You know, we
Okay,
have school-based therapists that work in every school system in Talladega County, and that what that does is gives children access to a therapist. They don't have to be checked out, miss school to see the therapist. They can be seen more frequently by the school-based therapist.
Parents don't have to miss work.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Parents
parents cannot
Absolutely.
get them
Yeah.
there.
Right, and the school-based therapist also works with the schools to help them identify kids that need services and to educate parents and families.
That's great that y'all all work together. The
We
school,
do.
the family, you guys.
We have a great partnership with our schools.
For sure.
Right. Now, I know we've talked mostly about children and teens. What about adults? We've got a couple of minutes left. What do y'all have for adults? Some similar things?
We have, for adults, we have outpatient services, including therapy and psychiatric services. We have case management services. We have crisis services. So we have pretty much the same services for adults as we do for children and teens.
Well, that's great. Tell us again how to get in touch with you. If we need help or we know someone that needs help.
If you know somebody that needs help or is struggling, you can call our Access to Care number, and that number is 1-888-335-3044. And that Access to Care professional can help link you to the services that you need. You'll come in for what we call an intake assessment by a therapist, and then you'll receive a person-centered treatment plan for what services, very individualized for each person, children, teens, and adults.
That's great because everybody's different.
Yes.
Everybody needs a little something different. Wow. Well, I've been very excited to hear about all the things you have going on. I know we've got 30 seconds or so. Y'all got a busy week planned this week for your kids?
Yes. We have a field trip. We have our pool outing.
Yeah.
So this week's going to be a fun, very busy week for them.
Good. Well, all right. Well, I just appreciate everything you ladies and the rest of your staff does for us. And please reach out to them if you need some assistance. They're always there. And you said 988?
988 is the mental health crisis line for individuals experiencing a mental health crisis or a substance use crisis. Please call 988 if you need that help.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you ladies for joining
Thank
me
you.
today. And thank you for joining us on Library Connection.